Before we get there, it is a Wing Wednesday edition of the After Hours Lounge. Make sure you follow us on Twitter or Facebook. Reshare the GIF or the post of Cunningham's Pub's logo, and we will enter you into a drawing to win a $25 gift card to Cunningham's. Speaking of which, Chef Master Extraordinaire Derek Richards is with us, the owner and operator of Cunningham's Pub. Derek, thanks for being here tonight, man.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
You brought in an assortment of things that had country gravy on it, and I think country gravy is my favorite food of all time. Like, I just could smother just about anything with country gravy. What do you guys do that's so special about the different kinds of gravy you guys offer at Cunningham's?
So that gravy we came up with a few years ago.
Oh, hang on one second. Dan, can we make sure his mic's on?
I don't think it's working.
Oh, can we swing him the other mic?
Yeah.
Let's try this again. Derek, you guys do a bunch of stuff with country gravy. What makes what do you guys do differently in the different kinds of gravy you have? There it is. Yeah, we're good.
We go. Well, we came up with this recipe a couple of years ago. It's got, it's got heavy cream in it. We make the gravy in-house. It's, everything's from scratch. We actually just recently tweaked it. We found some really good chorizo, spicy sausage chorizo, and we're going to make it with that. So we decided to mix it up a little bit here. I think we probably did that like 2 weeks ago. So it's got a nice kick.
All these things are on the brunch menu, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the fried chicken, the biscuits and gravy. You brought us a little bit of that candied bacon that you make, which is absolutely spectacular.
Our friend Mike Neville from the Keg tried it and literally stopped in his tracks to ask us what was on it.
And then the fried bread pudding bites, which were like just so surprising. They were so good.
Yeah, that one was surprised us too. We did all the stuff for Sunday for the NFL Sunday ticket, get all that going. Like the fried chicken we do regularly on Wednesday. So we kind of carried that over and then used the gravy, and it just came up with some other ideas for Sundays.
It's so good. If you win the gift card tonight,
wait till Sunday.
Wait till Sunday. Go in and watch some Sunday ticket and eat the brunch because it's amazing.
How popular is the brunch menu on Sundays? Because obviously some people are showing up later in the day. And how long does the brunch menu go for on Sundays?
So we are open till 6 on Sundays. So we do 11 to 6. And it's weird. Our Blackstone location, we sell more brunch stuff than we do our Old Mill location. So I think brunch is just a big thing in Midtown. We sell about twice as much brunch down there.
Sorry. Yeah. What's your favorite thing on the brunch menu?
My favorite thing is probably the bread pudding sticks.
They're good,
really
man.
Enjoy those. I eat them regularly or anything. My wife's listening.
Is there any reason just till 6 on Sunday? Just because, when it's not football season, that's when it makes the most sense.
Yeah, it's kind of been our experience, especially in Old Mill. We didn't have a huge customer base down there at night on Sundays. Most of our crowd comes in at like 11:30, watches the first 2 rounds of games, and then we kind of empty out. So it's just from a staffing perspective, it just makes things easier for everybody. We've in the 14 years that we were open, the 12 that we were open on Sundays, we just never had a big crowd on Sunday nights. During the day, we always had a great turnout for football.
Awesome.
What about Monday nights? Obviously you guys closed the Blackstone district on Monday nights, but when Monday Night Football starts back up, do you guys see an uptick in popularity on Mondays?
Yeah, we actually ended up opening both locations for Monday Night Football.
There we go.
So we just went all in for football, and we have had a great response. Our Old Mill location has really had a great turnout, especially for just opening. We didn't do anything crazy. We just stayed open on Mondays, and we've been getting a great turnout for the football.
Awesome, love to hear it. The brunch stuff you brought us is spectacular, as everything you bring us is. So, man, congrats, man. That stuff is great.
It's been great. Yeah,
we like it.
We got the schedule today for tip-off times for Creighton basketball. Does the schedule or the menu change in any certain way when the Jays are in town?
Fried Blue Jay, is that what you're going to serve?
There you go. Yeah.
No, we don't. Their schedules are so varied.
Sure.
So we just kind of run the regular stuff. We've got our happy hour 3 to 6, and then on Sunday we do happy hour all day, and then we have specials throughout the week every day. So there's always something going on.
Maybe you could just change the name of the Blueberry Sriracha Wings to Blue Jay Sriracha Wings for basketball games.
There might be an infringement there. You might have to pay some sort of royalty.
You think really on Blue Jays?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not.
Is there a blue?
I don't think you can trademark just Blue Jay.
Glenn Sisk, if you're listening, 402-951-1620, we'd love to know.
If you put like the Creighton name with it, then probably.
Yeah.
But if you just like Blue Jay, like that's a bird.
I wonder if I could find something that's not food coloring that would make a Blue Jay.
Yeah.
When does the Goliath Tap takeover end?
Thursday the 24th, October 24th. And we'll be getting in we've got a specialty keg stout for that grand finale.
Oh, I read about this.
Yeah, the Turmoil Stout is what it is.
Can you walk us through what that is?
So the Turmoil, Toppling Goliath does a bunch of these limited stout releases.
Yep.
They do a few more now than they even used to do. They used to they would barely release any of it in the market. So this is it's an aged stout that is 15.5% alcohol. I mean, it's like if you're a whiskey drinker and you haven't really broken into beer, like craft beer, this is something that you should come check out because they are just loaded. There's so many different notes in there. And this one they did, which I'm a huge pistachio guy, so I'm very excited. It's pistachio, vanilla, granola, turmoil. So I can't wait to see how that goes with the 15% alcohol.
Is that a barrel aged stout?
I believe so. Honestly, I got to double check. I meant to look at that today, but I believe it is.
Because I like some of those that you get the whiskey imparted into the stout when they do the barrel age. Yeah. That's good stuff.
They used to, honestly, years ago, they were so limited. It was awesome. They were so hard to find. And now it's become such a good use for all those barrels that the beer industry is really...
They just take longer to get to market.
A long time. Yeah. Well, they take a long time to just let them sit. It's very difficult to have a product that just sits for that amount of time.
We're catching up with Derek Richards, the owner and operator of Cunningham's Pub here on After Hours on 1620 Zone on a Wing Wednesday edition of the show. We looked at you like you had 4 heads when you walked in and told us that you got us blueberry sriracha wings. You guys are tapping a lemon meringue fandango next week on Wednesday. What exactly is that? What can people expect?
It's a very... and I forgot how tart it is. So if you're a sour beer fan, this is like one of the original,
I love lemon meringue,
like sour beers that came to market, and they do these variants of it. And so next Wednesday we're going to do the lemon meringue. And if you come down, if you stop in after 6, we actually have we've very limited supply of these Dragon Fandango Toppling Goliath glasses.
Oh, wow.
So their branding,
it's great.
It's awesome. Check out just look on our Facebook page. We've got an event thing for Toppling Goliath, and some of the stuff that they brand, they do a very good job with their logos and everything.
So with the lemon meringue, you've tasted it?
I have not.
You have not?
No,
okay.
I can't wait. Honestly,
I'm just wondering if it's going to be
Wednesday.
some kind of like a shandy kind of taste to it.
It's more tart.
Yeah.
So because the lemon shandies are usually like lemonade water based. If it's lemon meringue, it's going to be probably more of a puree base, right?
I would assume. I mean, when you see the Fandango, you can't see through it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is like
this
pink. I don't even know if that's the right color, but it is. You can't see through the glass. It is so
interesting.
Thick. Yeah, it's an awesome beer.
Okay.
If you're not a big sour fan, I mean, just try it. Like I'm not a big sour guy, but I will drink them occasionally just to try it out. But
so next Wednesday the 9th, make sure you stop by Cunningham's Pub. Derek won't be here, but you could stop by either one of the Cunningham's locations and try the lemon meringue fandango. Let us know on Twitter at After Hours 1620 how it was. Tell Derek and the crew you heard about them on After Hours and stop by to try it. And then again, don't forget the 24th. That's when they'll have the Turmoil Stout with the pistachio and vanilla that Derek was just talking about. Buddy, we appreciate the food. We appreciate your time. Thanks for being here.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
We'll be right back telling you exactly where Davante Adams needs to go. If you missed the opening segment tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620 or wherever you may find your podcast. That is brought to you by Amber Best with Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate. If you're looking for your forever home, look no further than amberbest.com. That's Amber, BESS.com. She'll tell you what's going on in the market, when those rates are going to drop, and when you can find your forever home as well. Check out amberbest.com for more details tonight. We'll be right back telling you where Davante Adams is going and give you the smoke. You're on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Tomorrow's the big day, okay? Tomorrow is the trunk show at Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. They're going to have a whiskey tasting. It's going to be a big, big deal. You're going to find some of the great gear that they have in stock, plus the whiskey that you can go taste. You're going to get outfitted. You're going to feel a little bit better after you leave there, too. Not only because you look great, but because you got a little whiskey in your belly. You need a nice sports shirt that's easily washable. It's stretchy. You get it in trim, regular fit. You need to get to the trunk show to kick off the 51st anniversary for Jerry Ryan Clothing. It's the Mizzen and Main Trunk Show tomorrow, 11 to 6. Get there. Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, dressing Omaha for over 50 years.
Welcome to a very HR-friendly edition of the After Hours Lounge on a Wednesday night. 6:16 on a Wing Wednesday. Follow us on all of our social medias to enter yourself into a drawing to win a $25 gift card to Cunningham's Pub. Tonight, it's time for the Who Wants to Smoke segment.
But you're right. Bradley Chubb's also back.
See, I told you. I tell nothing but the truth around here, and you tried sending me to HR about it. You know who is not going to be back, however? Davante Adams. He does not want to be back in Las Vegas ever again. Nobody can blame him. The Raiders are bad. Quarterback play, since he's been in Vegas, has been awful. There are a few teams of interest that are trying to court him for his services. How do you feel when pro athletes do this? Like, took the contract, left Green Bay. Dan, I'm sure you're not bitter about it at all still.
Uh-huh.
Nope.
Ends up in Vegas because he
Mhm.
wants to play with Derek Carr. Derek Carr is there for a quick cup of coffee, and he's on his way to New Orleans. And then he gets stuck with what's left over. Broken down Jimmy Garoppolo, Gardner Minshew on his 19th team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And Rod Farva.
Who wants a liter of cola? I don't like this is what bothers me about pro sports. Like, people make so much hay about the transfer portal and guys leaving schools that they commit to. Like, this happens in the NFL where they're getting paid millions of dollars.
Sure.
I don't necessarily blame guys for chasing rings, but to do it after 4 games of an NFL season, that's a little weird to me.
I don't specifically have a problem with it. And
Okay.
I'll tell you why.
Because you'd want out too.
An NFL career is a short-lived thing.
That's a good point.
And to make your mark, you need, like, you can't be a lone wolf and make your mark in the NFL.
That's
right?
true.
Like,
Yeah.
you cannot be the only all-time great. Like, it just doesn't work that way.
I agree with that. Yeah.
It just doesn't. You have to be surrounded by at least a few good players or a great coach, or like somebody else has to help you along the way.
Yeah. I mean, look at Sam Darnold right now.
Yep. Not that Sam Darnold's going to be an all-time great.
No, I don't
but-
think so either. But I mean, he looks much better than he did.
Yes. So, in one sense, part of me says like, no, the loyalty, and yeah, there's that part of me. But the rational part of my brain is like, no, like, this is a career just like any other. It just happens to be extremely public, right? Like, if you're at a company and you just can't get promoted, they will not promote you at this company, and a job opens up with the job title that you're seeking at a separate company, are you leaving?
Everybody is. Most people are.
Everybody
Yeah.
does, right? It's a better place to work. You're going to get, better pay, or you're going to get, the responsibilities that you want. You're going to be doing the whatever it is.
Sure.
You will change jobs for a better situation.
Especially for more money.
But yet we hold it against professional athletes when they change jobs for a better situation. I just seems odd to me that we get so mad when guys are like, look, I don't actually like working here. I'd like to work somewhere else.
Can I tell you where I think he should go? I jokingly talked about Kansas City last night. I think there's 0 chance that happens because Vegas isn't trading him in division. That's just not going to happen. What if he ended up in Washington?
Oh, I'd love it.
No. But like, take your fandom out of it. Think about what that offense has been this season, and then you throw Devontae Adams into the equation.
It'd be horse pucky.
Wouldn't that be a ton of fun to watch?
They're already super fun to
That's
watch. Guys.
Agreed. But you give Jaden Daniels that type of guy that, and you've already got Terry McLaurin, who you have an infatuation and a love for.
Terry.
Who I've been telling you is good.
True.
He just hasn't had a quarterback.
True, and he's already got
Cough, cough.
19 receptions on the year for 191 yards and 2 touchdowns, include that big 55-yarder. But you give him somebody opposite of him that can pull the eyes off of him, that offense opens up big time in Washington.
Yeah, I don't know if Devontae Adams wants to go to a project team.
Listen, he's been rumored to want to go to New Orleans, and I know New Orleans has had some splashes this year. That's not a Super Bowl contender, even with Devontae Adams. And I don't necessarily think Washington is either. I just think he's going to put up better numbers and probably have a little bit more fun in that system.
Dude, to do the most fun thing would be to go to Washington.
Yeah.
Like that for us watching the games.
When
that
have
would
we
be
been
the
able to
most
say
fun.
that in our lifetime?
I know. I feel very weird about this whole situation.
And you know what? It is really funny because
I
Washington,
tried telling you, man. I tried telling you.
from like a general perspective, Washington
No,
does
they're the
make a lot
Commanders.
of sense for him.
Sorry, that was a bad joke. Go ahead.
Thank you. Washington makes a lot of sense for him because you're basically playing against 3 of the weakest secondaries in division
yeah.
all year round.
Specifically Dallas. They're horrible.
Well, not to mention New York is just New York.
Yeah, that's just an advantage for everybody. But I think with guys like Jaden Daniels and even Bobby Wagner on the defensive side of the ball, like Washington over the next couple of years might become like a destination for free
Could be
agents.
really good.
Yeah.
Things could be like, I am at the point now where I don't actively hate my favorite team, which is
Weird feeling.
it's the first time in about 9 years that I haven't hated the Washington Commanders.
One of the teams that pops up today as a possible landing spot for him is Pittsburgh. Why would anybody that's a wide receiver want to go to Pittsburgh right now? Can anybody help me out with this? Because I don't get
Look,
it.
the defense is going to make them a contender. So if it's simply about a ring, like that
You gotta
defense
have
is
somebody
good.
get you the ball though.
Sure. But again, if you're ring chasing, that defense is probably one of the best in the league right now.
I would be amazed if Vegas sends him anywhere within the AFC.
Yeah. But Vegas isn't going to contend
Right.
this year, so
But
they don't care.
I mean,
They're
you
3-4
still have to
years
look at
away.
it. You still have to look at it from that business standpoint, though.
By the time that the Las Vegas Raiders are ready to contend in the AFC, Devontae Adams will be on the verge of retirement.
I'm going to give you 4 teams. I want you to tell me which team you think it's most likely that he ends up. Saints, 49ers, Chiefs, Commanders.
I don't know the cap status of all those teams, so that makes a difference in this whole equation.
And that's why I'm taking San Francisco out of it, because they've paid everybody, so they have no room for anyone.
That's where I was going with that. Is I don't think there's any way that the 49ers can afford him. The dark horse in this whole situation might be the Jets because of his relationship with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to tell you
They don't
right now.
have a ton of room either, though.
People are going to hem and haw about the fact that he has a good relationship with Aaron Rodgers, which is great. And that's fine. But he left Aaron Rodgers in the dust in Green Bay to go and play for Derek Carr. If it's just about the relationship with the quarterback, it's Derek Carr over Aaron Rodgers 9 ways to Sunday.
He played with that dude in college.
And
they're roommates.
If I'm Devontae Adams, I am wanting to go nowhere near the New York Jets right now.
Oh, I wouldn't want to either.
Yeah, that's
all of the behind the
bad
scenes
vibes.
baloney that they have going on right now in that locker room and on that coaching staff. There's no way that there is a positive bone in that franchise's body right now.
I think the Saints are probably the front runner.
Man, I think it's Washington. Washington made a really big push to try to get Brandon Ayuk, and they have the most cap room available of anybody on the list that I just gave you. And you throw Zach Ertz into the equation, it seems like he's had a little bit of a renaissance in his career, and it feels like they know, like it feels like Washington for the first time maybe since the early 90s is looking at their roster and going, hey, maybe we should get the talent around our star players somehow.
I mean, the first 2 years of Robert Griffin, they were like, okay, this could be something.
Yeah.
And then
the
terrible turf at FedEx Field ruined his career. So, but I just think it's funny, like on NFL Network right now, as we're speaking, Cowboys will not be pursuing Devontae Adams. No kidding.
Yeah. You know why?
You don't say.
You know why? Because they gave every dollar in their bank account to their wide receiver that they already have in their quarterback.
No. Why are we even considering this? Like, why would the Cowboys even be in the conversation?
It's the Yankees effect. Anytime a big-time free agent opens up, Jerry Jones talks about it and opens his pocketbook up and at least has a discussion about it. But
blows the dust out of it this year and goes,
yeah, right.
Oh, we got nothing left, boys.
Yeah.
The oil money's not coming through.
My gut instinct is, dude, I think he ends up in Washington. I don't think he ends up anywhere in the AFC. And yeah, obviously he wants to play. He would like to play with Derek Carr again. That's obvious in the fact that he went to Vegas in the first place. But like, there's got to be a little bit of like PTSD there about that, right? Because you did it once and it didn't work out great. And that's why you're in the situation in the first place.
Yeah, but it's the Raiders, and the Raiders are dysfunctional. From the top down.
The Saints haven't been the most organized organization throughout their entire history either, though. It's not like you're going to play for Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft in the Patriots. So
watch them go back to Green Bay, because the only people that they've paid in recent history are
Jordan Love,
Kenny Clark, Preston, and Jordan Love, obviously.
Yeah, that's the one reason I don't think it happens, just because they've rolled out the checkbook recently, and usually when you do that, you're not really willing to make other moves in that range.
But Christian Watson still has terrible knees.
You know,
and Romeo Doubs is still, man.
You know who's really good? That has a really good quarterback and just freed up a bunch of cap room and locker room cancers recently?
The Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills. That
Wouldn't that be a surprise?
Would be a lot of fun to watch as well. That was the Who Wants to Smoke segment. If you missed it, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. Fall is here, and that means you need to start that maintenance cycle. You need to have your HVAC unit looked at, your furnace, your AC. Did the storms take a toll on your AC? Is your furnace working? Are you going to be hanging out with Jack Frost in your living room this winter? You don't want to do that. Get your system maintenance today by heading over to controlledcomfort.com and work with Tony and the crew and have them come out and fix your HVAC unit today. We'll be right back. Tell you what games you will, won't, and should be watching this weekend in football here on 1620 Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Bob Williams of Williams Law. You know what? It's football season, and that means some bad decisions get made from time to time. If you or someone you know has made one of those bad decisions, got behind the wheel, got yourself ticketed for driving under the influence, you need to give Bob a call at 402-522-6317. Bob's going to explain your rights, walk you through the entire legal process given your specific situation, and give you the best representation that you can get in the Omaha metro area. If you are facing legal action, be it civil or criminal, you need to get a hold of Bob at 402-522-6317. Get your free, no-obligation legal consultation. Check him out at williamslawllc.com tonight.
6:33 on a Wednesday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. If you want to keep up to date on all things Bellevue athletics, download the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. We're going to tell you which games you will, won't, and should be watching this weekend in the football world. I'll go ahead and start us off. I will be watching SMU at Louisville. I think there's so many great storylines about this game. Obviously, SMU coming off that blowout win over Florida State. Louisville coming up short against Notre Dame. The Cardinals are 7.5-point favorites in that game. I think that tells you that the Vegas is expecting for a primetime letdown for the Ponies. So I think it's going to be a ton of fun to watch. Jeff Brom's offense versus that SMU offense. It's going to be really good football. They both play really good defense too. Watch the game with inside the game from the coaching standpoint, and it's going to be football at its finest on Saturday.
Oh, that's a good call. I like that call. But I'm putting my chips down on Big 12 after dark, boys.
Nice.
Texas Tech and Arizona, two teams that are kind of sneaking under the radar here.
Yeah.
Both with one loss, but still in the mix in what is, as we predicted, turning out to be a wild and woolly Big 12.
You were trying to get one of those coaches fired before the season started.
I was not confident that Texas Tech would be any good, but they look to be decent. Even after
they're playing defense, it's weird.
To Washington State and got thwacked. So we will see what it looks like against Arizona. And Arizona with Noah Fafita and Tetero McMillan are like one of the most fun offenses to watch.
Yeah, get your popcorn
in major college football right now. So that's the only show in town at 10 p.m. Central Time. So it's an easy choice. Big 12 after dark, boys.
Also, Washington State, as a whole, has been a ton of fun to watch this year for anybody that's been able to catch.
Oh, John Mateer.
Yeah, he's one of the most exciting quarterbacks in all of the country. They should have won that game against Boise State. They just laid an egg in the second half. It was awful. What do you got for us, Dan?
Well, I don't want to stay up quite as late as John, but I do want some ACC after dark.
Nice.
So I am watching, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on air, so just the greatest branded game in all of the exosphere right now, Miami at Cal. This is going to be one of the strangest games that we will probably get this entire season, because for some reason, Cal fans are just riled up and they can't seem to lose right now. And Miami is Miami. They're ranked number 8 in the country. There's a chance they could fall to Cal. It's a small chance.
No, we'll have to talk off air.
Oh, did you find the name of the game?
Yeah.
Yes, it's great.
I'll say it.
And to be fair,
Woke versus Coke.
Yeah.
I haven't watched enough Cam Ward yet this season, and that is the real reason that I want to watch this game, because Jimmy keeps on Cam Ward. I'll kiss him on the cheeks.
Why?
I'll kiss him on the head. I love him. I love him.
That wasn't the nickname I was wondering about. Why is the other nickname Communists versus Convicts?
Because
is this a
well, because Miami Notre Dame was Catholic.
I know. Where is the communist?
Cal Berkeley.
Oh,
yeah, they're in Berkeley.
Yeah, never mind.
Famously, it's where the hippies are from.
Yep. I got it.
Writing their manifestos, man.
It's
smoking their doobies.
It's an election year. I didn't know if that had something to do with it. That was more my question.
Surprisingly not.
No.
Listen, I think that's going to be a great game too. I said this last night. I think I have more confidence in Miami coming off that Virginia Tech game than I did even beforehand, since they battled back and were able to come back and win that.
Yeah, man, I thought Tech had that game in the bag.
Yeah, I did too. You know, a game I won't be watching this weekend, and apparently neither will Devontae Adams. Raiders at Broncos. Yeah. Two really bad offenses. Two pretty decent defenses. It's going to be a low scoring affair. You won't see it pop up on NFL Red Zone too much. No real reason to watch it anyway. Hard pass.
Yeah, mine's also in the NFL, and it's for kind of the same reason. Dolphins versus Patriots, man. The Dolphins are a disaster. The Patriots
we see Drake May
not any better. No, I don't know. But two teams that are just in big trouble right now. And the Dolphins for different reasons. Like the Dolphins, if they have Tua, they're a threat. Without him, very obviously are not.
If they have a quarterback that wasn't in the Arena League yesterday.
And the Patriots, man, I mean, we knew it was going to be ugly, but it's even uglier than we thought, man. Like, they're so bad.
I don't think we understood how spoiled we were with Brady, Rodgers, Tua in his rookie year, Russell Wilson when he was still playing well, Patrick Mahomes,
Josh Allen.
We've hit this like kind of lull in quarterback play where you look around the league and it's kind of like you obviously have your CJ Strouds that are young and up and coming, but like the Bryce Young thing clearly didn't work out, and Andy Dalton and Joe Flacco have to now come in to basically put a Band-Aid on the bad draft status of a couple of quarterbacks.
A bunch of highly drafted quarterbacks are just proving to not be as good as they should be.
I wish somebody would have warned Indianapolis about Anthony Richardson, Dan. I wish somebody would have done it.
I don't know who would have done it for them, though.
You know what game?
I've never met a guy who has said a negative word about Anthony Richardson.
Every chance he got.
Or said that he wasn't going to pan out. I can't believe it.
The game you should be watching this weekend is Indiana.
Wait, what's Dan not watching?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Dan. What are you not watching?
I'm not watching Carolina at Chicago. Congratulations,
Yeah.
Caleb Williams. You finally got your first touchdown pass to DJ Moore. Oh, the receiver that they paid all this money for and the quarterback that they sold out to draft first. Oh, they finally connected. Who gives a rip?
Dan,
And then on the other side of the bucket, Carolina, I am praying for you right now. I love you
all hell the
so
Red
much.
Rifle.
Is it Red Rifle?
Yeah, that's Andy Dalton.
It's a good thing I didn't call him what I thought his nickname was. We'll talk about that one off air.
It's not a rocket, Dan.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Andy Dalton, I really hope you can come in and just slather up Soldier Field with all of your ginger-haired magic that you have, my friend, because
There was some word choices there.
the Bears still suck.
Dan,
And,
Dan, who's your favorite pro football team?
It's that team that wears green and gold that's in Wisconsin somewhere.
You know what game I'm going to be? You should be watching this weekend. It's Indiana Northwestern. No, not because Indiana is Nebraska's next opponent after the bye week. It's because Northwestern's been really bad this year. It's a 2:30 midday lull kick. It's going to be 75 degrees and cloudy in Evanston. Can Northwestern catch Indiana, a team that's been red hot in a boring, got to bring your own juice kind of game? You should win. Everything points to the fact that it should happen. This is Curt Cignetti's first trip to Evanston, and it's its own animal, and I think there's something to that. I think Northwestern might have a chance to win this game. I hope they don't. I'd like to see Indiana come in undefeated and ranked to Memorial Stadium, but I think Curt Cignetti and the boys need to bring the juice this weekend.
If Indiana loses, can we still call it the mistake by the lake?
Yes, we still can.
Okay, good. The game you probably should be watching, the game that I probably should be watching, is Ohio State versus Iowa.
Yeah, I agree.
Ohio State hasn't played a real defense yet. I don't think that any of the teams they've played are very good on defense at all. So I'm interested to see what it looks like for the Ohio State offense when they play a team who's competent on defense. And look, Iowa's more than competent on defense.
They're the least penalized team in the Big Ten right now, just 11 penalties for 95 yards this season.
So that's one that should be pretty interesting. I won't put Ohio State on upset alert by any means, but to see what that offense looks like when faced with anything more than a screen door will be something to pay attention to.
Nebraska second to last in the Big Ten, 40 penalties for 373 yards, tied with Maryland. Dan, what game should you be watching this weekend?
The game that I should be watching is one that I sort of alluded to last night, is number 4 Tennessee going down to Arkansas and playing the Razorbacks. I said it last night. I think at some point this season, Arkansas is going to play spoiler to at least one SEC team's playoff hopes and dreams. I don't think it'll be Tennessee, because I do agree with you, Jimmy, that Tennessee is probably the best team in the SEC right now. But it seems like it's just going to be a great football game, because Tennessee is great and Arkansas just seems to have this like weird hog magic that's just like in their back pocket. So it's one that I should be watching and that I probably will be watching because it doesn't coincide with the Husker game.
Sam Pittman might save his job this year. I don't know if I had that on my bingo card, but they win one of these next two, specifically Tennessee or LSU. I think he's still calling the Hogs home next season.
Ding dong. That
is what we will, won't, and should be watching this weekend. Hopefully you follow our directions as well. If you missed that segment, check it out. SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620. It was brought to you by our friends at Cunningham's Pub. You heard from Derek earlier. You can hear from Derek 7 days a week at Cunningham's Pubs. All you got to do is stop by. Make sure you stop by their Twitter page or ours and retweet or share on Facebook out the post tonight about Wing Wednesday. We're going to enter a drawing to win a $25 gift card to Cunningham's, one of their two great locations, either Old Mill or the Blackstone District. We'll be right back telling you about what's coming to Omaha. We come back here on 1620 Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Forsman's Finest Decks. Maybe you're just looking to spice up the house. Maybe you are looking at refinancing. You get a little extra cash you want to spend. You want your forever home to be home. Well, the way you do that is by adding that something your home has been missing. And maybe it's a deck. Have Travis and crew from Forsman's Finest Deck come build you a deck, put a cover on it, and add that something that your house has been missing. Head over to forsmansfinest.com. Have your dream deck built in your forever home this fall. Forsman's Finest Decks, building the finest decks in Omaha. .647 on a Wednesday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Download the BU Bruins app to keep up to date on all things Bellevue athletics tonight. It's time for the social media soundbite. It's not necessarily breaking news, just really, really cool news that we have coming up for you. And everybody in the city of Omaha should be excited about this. Dan? All right. I guess now it's breaking news.
We're going to call it sort of breaking news.
Sure.
I didn't have the ability to find anything that was like Omaha.
Well,
it wasn't Peyton Manning going crazy.
There is a video you could play in the show lineup.
Oh, well, when you spend a lot of time with your email not open,
sure,
trying to produce a radio show. So, fun fact, everybody. We're getting the NCAA tournament again.
Yeah, it's just It's just the world's worst song. It's One Shining Moment that
It's
we
not
went
good.
with. Yeah.
I'm really glad that I didn't play that. Then.
Yeah, I'm not that disappointed about it, if I'm being honest, because I absolutely hate that song and I think it needs to go away. But it is. It's so bad. It's so
It's awful.
Yeah,
The moment is cool. The song sucks.
Yeah, just pick a different song and make it better. But yeah, the Omaha is getting the NCAA tournament, the first and second rounds in 2027. And Creighton will be the host school. Obviously, it'll be at the Chi. It's just one of those things that it feels like Omaha does it really, really well. And obviously, Alex Drake and I were up in Detroit for. I don't know if I've ever told this story on here. So we're obviously up in Detroit for the Sweet 16 for the Creighton postgame show. And it was at Little Caesars Arena. Now, listen, one thing you're never going to hear me complain about is free food. But
they gave you Little Caesars pizza?
They gave us Little Caesars pizza.
It's Little
in
Caesars
the media room. And I get it. But it's like, come on, man. This is the sweet. This is big time. Be better, Detroit. Like, at least give us Detroit style pizza if you're going to do that. It was the same $5 hot and ready. You can go get it right now.
Yeah.
Stop by 90th and Blondo.
Yeah. Real quick, to the city of Detroit, I am sorry about what they have taken from you. It is an absolute appalling, atrocious, terrible thing that you now play hockey in Little Caesars Arena.
It is weird.
You used to have the greatest barn in all of professional hockey, and now you have to play in a place.
Pizza.
Yes, where the slogan is pizza.
I got to give a shout out though to Rob Anderson and the SIDs at Creighton though, because I mean the fact that this keeps happening under their watch is just a testament to how great of a job that they've been able to do down there. And they put on the College World Series, they put on the NCAA tournament, and the NCAA coming back to Omaha is in large part due to the fact that the SIDs at Creighton have their finger on the pulse of college athletics and know how to put on a really good show and make sure that all the accommodations are made. And that's just a big time credit to those guys.
Well, and it's a credit to the people of Omaha because they show up and fill the arena.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, yes, but I also think there's something to the fact that it is centrally located and easy to get to too. Like the fact that you probably have easy travel from just about everywhere to get here, and it's not a team going from the West Coast to the East Coast in a situation like that. I think that helps too.
And Kansas can bus here. So,
I don't know if you noticed, their fans travel very, very well for men's basketball. Yeah, but I mean, it is the first and second round. I would really like to see what a Sweet 16, Elite 8, or a Final Four would look like in Omaha, because I know the arena is maybe not, it's especially not a Final Four. No,
we had the Sweet 16, Elite 8.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We did,
and
I worked it.
I meant like on a consistent basis, because from a standpoint of, like I meant to say back to back, because, and I know it rotates and it moves or whatever, but like that was the K-State year, right? That they made the run to the Sweet 16. Am I remember with Michael Beasley?
No, we had Kansas, Syracuse, Duke, and
yeah. This was not 4 years ago, 6 years ago, right? Yeah. I would like to see bigger stakes more consistently, and how the city would respond.
Regional sites are tough to get, man. They just don't come around very often. Like nobody gets them that often.
Yeah, because I mean, usually if you do, you're like ipso facto in discussion for the Final Four too. If you're that consistent, but like,
and we can't get a Final Four.
Yeah, it's the building's not big enough. Yeah,
well, and
because they play them in football stadiums now.
Our building isn't big enough, and then we actually don't have the hotel occupancy that they require, which is surprising for a downtown that has so many hotels now.
I can't remember who it was. Somebody took a picture at the Final Four, and they weren't on the floor; they were in the lower bowl, and it looked like they were 10 miles away from the floor.
It's so dumb. Yeah, I hate it so much.
For a game like basketball that is so intimately played, like a place like the Chi makes way more, like an actual college basketball arena that doubles as something else, like the Chi does, makes way more sense than a football stadium. And I get. Listen, if you're the demand's there for tickets, and you're going to sell them, they're going to put them in as many places as shares as they can. So that
if they can,
I get from
sell
that standpoint,
70,000 tickets, they're going to do that.
But from a visual standpoint, it just doesn't look great.
Well, I can't imagine it's a great fan experience watching a basketball game at a football stadium.
Yeah, it looks horrible. It really does.
I mean, CHI can hold 18,300 for a basketball game.
Famously, not 80,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just such a cool event. The fact that it keeps rotating into Omaha, and the fact that we're going to be able to enjoy it again in just 3 short years. I mean, we're less than a month away from the tip off of college basketball as well. Man, October's the best month. October is the best month. You have all the rivalry games happening in college football. We were just talking. The Royals just knocked out Dan's Orioles in the playoffs, and you've got the World Series coming up. The NFL's in full swing. College basketball is right around the corner. NHL is about to get underway tomorrow. Like
college hockey starts on Friday.
It's just the best month. October.
NHL's in preseason.
Yeah, the regular season starts tomorrow. It's one of those things that like I don't know if there's a better month. Keep the summer. I'm fine. Keep your 100-degree heats. Keep your sandy beaches. Give me a frosty Saturday afternoon with college football, the NHL on in the evenings, and World Series or a playoff game happening midday.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like March though. Like March, April's really good. April's really.
You know
good.
why you like March and April though? Because there's the light at the end of the tunnel for the cold weather. That's the only other reason. Like, sure, March Madness is cool, but like, is it Ohio State versus Michigan or Oklahoma versus Texas cool? No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah. You know what is cool? The After Hours Lounge. You can listen to it anytime at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620, wherever you may find your podcast at. It's brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. If maybe you're a new business owner and you haven't set up your Google business profile, maybe you don't even own the rights to it yet, work with Courtney, the Google gal at Pixel Fire Marketing. She can set up your business to be more successful, get better reviews, and send more people to your website just by working with the folks at Pixel Fire Marketing. Do so by heading to pixelfiremarketing.com tonight. We'll be right back, buying or selling on several different topics, including a really good football game like Georgia, Alabama, also in October. Talk about that on the way back on 1620 Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for AX Plumbing. Listen, I love Nick Betts and crew over at AX Plumbing. They have bailed me out so many times. It's such a bad day when you're having a plumbing issue, and when you can get great customer service and work with a crew that knows what they're talking about, can help fix all of the issues you're having, especially if you have a toddler in your life that just keeps messing your plumbing up like I do. Work with AX Plumbing. They can help you any time of the year. They also have financing available if you keep racking up bills to repair your home that you didn't know you were going to have by having a 3-year-old. It's just those things that happen in life. It's always good to have a guy in your back pocket. And I got one with Nick and the crew at AX Plumbing. Head over to axpservice.com and have your plumbing issues fixed today. Check out axpservice.com. There's a discount for current and former military members, and they also have financing available today. That's the top of the second hour here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. You don't become the number one roofer in Omaha for over a decade by accident. If you need help with your roof, windows, gutters, or siding, they do it all. Head over to pyramidroof.com to get a free estimate today. It's time for Buy or Sell. We're Dan Campinen, who is now a happily married man and is still getting back into the swing.
Congrats, Dan.
Has a ton of questions for us.
Yes, I do. Chris Fowler told Dan Patrick that the Alabama-Georgia game didn't almost make TV, with over 12 million people watching. The four-letter network had to have a generator police escort to get the broadcast on TV. Buy or sell that this makes you feel better about your broadcasting woes throughout your career.
Well, this is topical. So ESPN obviously had the Georgia-Alabama game on their station where 12 million people tuned in, as Dan just said. It almost didn't happen because they had to have a police escort with the generator from College Game Day escorted down to the stadium to have them get their broadcast on the air. Now, they didn't miss a single minute of the broadcast. But you recently had something of similar sorts.
A couple times.
Yeah.
It's been quite a run for your boy.
I buy, though. This makes me feel much better about the fact that, listen, sometimes the equipment you work with in radio and television is always the best. Yeah. But if this is happening at the very tippy top of the business, it makes a little more sense when things happen at the lower level.
Man, there are just gremlins in every broadcast.
Yeah.
And so last Thursday, our high school football broadcast for Cox, we got about halfway through the first quarter and the generator went out. We did not get back on air until
what's up with the generators, Dan?
Start of the fourth quarter. So this kind of thing happens. It just does. But I imagine ESPN probably had a generator and a backup generator that both failed because they don't travel with just one.
Yeah, sometimes they travel with three, and the fact that they needed a possibly even a third or a fourth one is really incredible. But
and then obviously last night I was supposed to be calling the Creighton Marquette volleyball match from DJ Sokol Arena.
And the internet said, nah.
Yeah, the internet was like, nah, you're not doing that tonight. So I sat there and tried to get it to connect, and it would not. So
I wonder what that conversation would sound like with the sponsors for ESPN and the Georgia-Alabama game. Because I'm gonna go on a limb here. And I know I have some wild conspiracy theories, and this might be at the top of the list. I'm pretty sure those spots are pretty expensive.
Oh, that's not a conspiracy theory. That's just a fact.
So fun fact, stuff goes wrong all the time. Just broadcasting in general.
Yeah.
But when as we all remember, we had a lovely storm on the 31st of July that just knocked out the power to basically 98% of Omaha.
Some people didn't even put their doors on their Jeeps that day.
Knocked out the power here as well. For a long time. So we were unable to play commercials. And my first reaction when that happened to me was, ah! And I'm sure there are probably some expletives laced in there if you're an ESPN programmer who has to say, so fun fact, guys, we can't play any of the commercials that we want to play tonight. And they're all paying us multi-million-dollar contracts to put in 6 commercials during this game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just for example, I was hosting for Happer and had a chance to put my broadcasting hero, Ian Dark, on the air to talk about the hiring of Mauricio Pochettino, and we could not figure out how to get him from StreamYard onto the air because he's obviously in England and he was not going to call in on the phone. So we had him on StreamYard and it just wasn't working. We couldn't get both he and I on the air at the same time. It wouldn't go.
You eventually got to figure it out though, right?
We did. I had to come around and stand in the producer's spot.
Is it because you punched your microphone?
It might have been. But yeah. So there, every show, doesn't matter. You probably never notice it. Every show.
Because we're so good at our job. That's why.
Something goes wrong. And the people behind the scenes are in absolute panic mode. And the listening or watching audience probably has no idea most of the time.
Dan, what else we got?
Well, we're just going to stick with the Georgia-Alabama game. Jalen Milroe is the current betting favorite to win the Heisman. Buy or sell that Milroe will host the Stiff Arm in New York at the end of the season.
That says hoist. I
said hoist.
You said host.
I buy, though.
Whatever. He's going to host it forever.
He's going to host the Stiff Arm at his house.
He could host it. That is true. So, Dan, I apologize for correcting you. Listen.
Get out of town.
Nobody on here, on this station, maybe even in the country, was more out on Jalen Milroe then your boy.
You were hating.
Kalen DeBoer may be the next quarterback whisperer that we talk about. And you know what? I think he's going to win it. I think he has had his moments in that game, specifically against Georgia. There's a certain wide receiver or two that may help in the equation. We're going to get to him and them here in a minute. But I think he's got the best set of weapons. I think he's got the moment so far. It's probably going to end up being the most or the second most watched game of the year, because I think there's going to be less interest in Michigan versus Ohio State this year for obvious reasons. But yeah, I think he's going to end up winning the Heisman Trophy, and I think Alabama might have a shot at the Final Four too.
You know, I'm on record as saying I thought it was going to be Quinn Ewers, and I think what we're seeing,
the injury doesn't help.
The injury doesn't help, and they're not in a big rush to get him back on the field the way Arch Manning's looking either.
I think after Saturday there might be a little bit of a emphasis to get him out there.
But the missing a couple of games, I think that's probably going to knock him out of contention unless Texas just goes on and like absolutely romps through the SEC. Then we might see the Quinn Ewers talk.
Them being on a bye this week helps a ton.
But man, Jalen Milroe got it done against Georgia. That guy, he was something else in that game. So that might be his Heisman moment. You know what I mean? That could.
And
be
he had a couple of them.
Ashton Jeanty is probably the best player in America, but Jalen Milroe is probably going to win it.
If you don't know who Ashton Jeanty is right now, just look up his stat line right now, and I want you to know there's not a typo on whatever website you're looking at.
You know me, love my running backs.
Yeah,
and that dude is, oh my good.
Dan,
Travis Hunter's still going to win the Heisman.
I don't hate that pick, man. I honestly think it's going to be one of those two. If Colorado gets to win games,
look, it's going to be hard not to give it to him.
Yeah,
it's going to take something special.
If they win 8 games this season, which they're projected to win now, it's going to be hard to take it away from them.
Yeah. Moving on, we're just going to keep breaking down Georgia and Alabama. It was the game of the week in college football. Ryan Williams, 17 years old. I don't know if you guys knew that, but he had 6 catches for 177 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown specifically may go down as play of the year in college football. Buy or sell, a star was born on Saturday night.
Hammer. That touchdown catch is one of the most crazy athletic things you'll ever see in your life. Dan, can you turn the stream back on for a second as well? But yeah, he caught the ball, did a spin move while catching it, landed on the ground, did another spin move out of a tackle, and then won a foot race with 2 guys to score a touchdown. He had a great game, but moments make stars in college football. And yeah, listen, he was really good before that, but I think he's a guy that you're gonna be talking about on Heisman watch lists for the next 2 years, specifically because of that one moment.
Sounds like a star was born 17 years ago.
Yeah, also a good take,
because that boy good. Yeah, he's incredible. And like it's just so Alabama like to be position. Coach, best to ever do it. We're fine.
Yeah. Ryan Williams on the season so far, by the way, 16 catches, 462 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's a true freshman and isn't even old enough to vote yet, in case anybody's wondering. And if you didn't watch the Georgia-Alabama game, they only told you around about 65 times that he's 17 years old.
About the same number of times they told us Braylon Allen was 17 years old.
Yeah, that's a good point. It might even be more for Ryan Williams. Dan?
Wisconsin and Luke Fickell are now 2-2. Their 2 losses are to Alabama and USC in Southern California. Buy or sell, it's time to start digging dirt and putting Luke Fickell into a grave in Madison.
So there are a lot of people that are willing to already pull the plug on this thing and say he is Bill Callahan 2.0. He's Wisconsin's version of killing the culture, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Those are 2 pretty respectable losses. Now, they got completely outclassed by Alabama. That happens to everybody. I don't know if I'm willing to say this is for sure a dead thing and they need to go ahead and pull the parachute now. I said it last night that I thought that this wasn't going to work and it looked bad. If you need to give him enough time to maybe move on from Phil Longo and get some other type of philosophy offensively in there, but I don't know if what if they win 8 games this season? Are we still saying this is a failure?
Yeah, it's not time to start digging the hole just yet. I mean, I personally don't think it's going to work out because of their geographic location, and it's such a big change. Like it's such a story that we're familiar with, right? You're changing the identity of the team from what it's been for a long time. Hello, Nebraska. And that takes a long time to get right. A long time.
That's a good point.
Especially when you have such a clear identity that has transcended coaching staffs, like for decades. And now it's not that. Now it's a spread thing that you're recruiting the same players as all the other big boys. Like it's tough, man. I don't think it's going to work, but we're not there yet.
Dan?
All right. Last one. Florida State fell to 1-4 on Saturday. They still have Clemson, Miami, and Notre Dame on the schedule. Buy or sell that Mike Norvell can save this season in any way.
Sell. I mean, listen, I know I was pretty bullish on him after the first couple of losses and thought he was a good enough coach to turn around. It feels like he's lost that locker room. I know that he might not get fired, but I don't think there's any saving this season like that. And if we're talking about saving the season as far as getting to a bowl game, they finished out the season with Clemson on Saturday. They have to go to Cameron, North Carolina. They have to go to Miami. They get a bad North Carolina team at home. They have to go to South Bend, Indiana. They play Charleston Southern in Florida. You can maybe scrape 3 wins out of that. I don't see 4 or 5. So, no, I'm going to say they can't save it.
We're going to find out this weekend if there's a way to do it.
Because, yeah, they have to win on Saturday.
Well, DJU is now out with a broken finger.
Probably the best thing that could happen to
this
team.
So we're going to find out if they've just been starting the wrong guy or if this thing is all the way broken. Like this weekend is going to tell us. I think that this is the time, because if they drop to 5 losses, ain't no way.
Yeah, because they'd have to run the table basically on the other end and just throw the Georgia Southern win in there. But DJU 1,000, just a little over 1,000 yards in this short period, but he's got 6 picks and 4 touchdowns. That offensive line hasn't done him any favors, but it just kind of looks like the same guy you saw at Clemson, where the game was just too big for him. Dan, what do you think? Think they can save the season anyway?
Honestly, I don't. Yeah. It just seems like such an insurmountable task. I don't think Mike Norvell will get fired by any means, because he still can point to last year and say, I know how to do it.
If they go,
I just couldn't do it again.
If they go 2-10,
they'll win 2. They'll win at least 3 more,
and they lose that game to Florida at the end of the season. They can't bring. I know you'd have to get a massive loan from somebody to pay that kind of money. There's no way they can bring him back. Right, 2-10 after going 12-0 the season prior.
I don't know, man.
It just feels like lightning in a bottle at that point.
Yeah, it's tough.
I'm just going to say it. If I were a betting man, which historically I am, as this show has proven,
Alex Drake corrupted him and taught him Keno, and it was all downhill from there.
I would 100% put my money on Luke Fickell not having a job at the end of the season over Mike Norvell.
Wow.
Ooh.
Fickell, to me, isn't the right fit for the Wisconsin faithful. Mike Norvell seems like the kind of guy who wants to still have his job at Florida State.
The message board people don't like Norvell.
Message board people
don't like anybody.
They hate everything. You could be like, "Hey, it's the second coming of Christ," and they'd be like, "This guy sucks. Walk on water or some more."
If you missed Buy or Sell tonight, check it out at SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620, wherever you may find your podcast. That it was brought to you by Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. I've told you this story, and I'll tell it till I'm blue in the face. We were in LA for the Terrence Crawford fight. My AC unit stopped working. Our friends at Controlled Comfort came out within an hour and got the problem fixed within an hour after that. As well. If you're having HVAC issues, there's no better place to go than ControlledComfort.com and have a peace of mind with your HVAC unit this winter and fall. We'll be right back with our Papillion Sanitation Trash Takes of the Night when we come back on 1620 Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Bob Williams with Williams Law. You hear Bob on this show every single week, breaking down the legal issues facing the big boy conferences in college football, the $1 million athletes in the sporting world, and the legal problems they're going through. You don't have to have $1 million in the bank to work with a lawyer the class of Bob Williams. All you have to do is head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight. Bob and his team are going to give you a free, no obligation legal consultation. They're going to walk you through your rights and explain the situation you're in and get you prepared for the civil or the legal litigation that you're facing, and make sure you're prepared for your big day. Again, WilliamsLawLLC.com. Head over tonight and book a free, no obligation legal consultation with Williams Law. 7:18 on a Wednesday night here on 1620 Zone, brought to you by our friends at Pyramid Contractors. If you have problems with windows, gutters, siding, even your roof, they could do it all. Head over to pyramidroof.com and book a free estimate. Tonight, Hammer and Hank behind the board now. Dan Campinen slides over into chair number 3, joins the rest of the crew as we give you our Papillion Sanitation trash takes of the night. That's right, the poll is back. Brought to you by our friends at Papillion Sanitation. We're going to give you our hottest takes of the night. We're going to put a poll up. We're going to let you vote on who had the best and who had the trashiest take of the evening. I'm going to start us off because we talked about this last week, John, and it just got reaffirmed by 0 for 3 from field goal range for Nebraska and West Lafayette. Nebraska should never kick a field goal again for the remainder that there's a football program in Lincoln. Ever. If it's 4th and 18, baby, just go ahead and go for it. Let Dylan cook. Just go ahead and drop back, 7-step drop. I mean, Isaiah Nayer's got to be down there somewhere. Maybe Jamal Banks is in the vicinity. You have enough athletes, and there's enough. You have a big enough sample size. Special teams is a big problem for this team, and I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a really good chance that cost them a loss as early as this Saturday. Don't kick another field goal. Just go for it.
You dug to the bottom of the trash barrel for this one.
Some are saying it's the best take.
Well, that person's not me. Stanford and Cal are in a conference that doesn't make any sense.
Because what coast are they on?
They're on the Atlantic Coast Conference.
But what coast are they located on?
They are on the Pacific Coast.
Oh, okay. Makes sense if you don't think about it.
The Pacific Coast Conference is coming back, and they need to be in it. For the new Pac-12 to succeed, they need Stanford and Cal back in the fold. Listen to me. The new teams that they've added around Oregon State and Washington State, there's only one that matters. Boise State.
Yep.
It's the only other team in that conference that moves the needle even slightly. The rest of them are non-factors. If this conference, the new Pac-12, is going to survive and possibly even thrive, they need those other 2 California schools back in. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what their grant of rights situation with the ACC is like. Although
pay the money.
The ACC is being sued about it right now, so who knows what comes of that. They need Stanford and Cal back in the Pac-12.
Dan, your trash take of the evening is?
Caitlin Clark should be your WNBA Rookie of the Year. Simply due to the fact that the people who hate on her are ridiculous at this point. And I'm tired of it. Simply because of the fact that she has played some of the most outstanding basketball and has had the stats of many of the league's greats. She has surpassed Cheryl Swoops in her 2 MVP seasons that she had back-to-back in both points, rebounds, almost in assists, and free throw percentage. It is ridiculous that we're like in all of this weird conversation. And yes, I get that Caitlin Clark isn't the superstar that the NBA wants, but it's the superstar right now that the WNBA needs.
Yeah. I mean,
to be fair, I've been sitting on this for a while. You've
been gone famously. You're busy.
I famously have been gone, and famously the day before I leave, someone tweets and says, "This seems like a really good topic for you guys on After Hours." And Jimmy says, "Hey, talking about Caitlin Clark is kind of Dan."
Yeah, we got you, fam.
Yep.
But I'm really tired of the Caitlin Clark versus Paige Becker's narrative.
Yeah, it's very weird.
They've been nothing but friends this entire time. And I'm really tired of the Angel Reese narrative that she has been putting out and that the media has been putting out in regards to Angel Reese. Just let these women live their lives and play basketball.
But they've both kind of leaned into that a little. Caitlin Clark less, but Angel Reese has leaned all the way into that narrative, though. So it's not, I don't want to say it's the media and it's the outside noise, because Angel Reese has done a pretty good job of stoking that fire herself.
So to be fair, cough, cough, when I say the media needs to calm it down, Angel Reese is now officially part of that media because she just started her own podcast and has.
Do athletes do that now? Weird.
She has had 2 to 3 episodes where she has talked about Caitlin Clark on her podcast. And when you say, I want to start a podcast to clear the air and to like take the media's narrative and flip it on its ear and get it to where I actually want it to be and to let people understand who the real Angel Reese is. Then don't talk about the one woman who everyone has been like, do you hate her? And you literally haven't said, no, I don't hate her.
Here's the thing, though. What's Angel Reese's net worth right now? Angel Reese's net worth is $2 million, is just a little under $2 million right now, according to Yahoo Finance. Her NIL money was $100,000. She's literally seen her net worth 20 times since getting the WNBA, but also post the Caitlin Clark feud. Like, if you're seeing something make you that type of money and generate that much attention for you and get you that many social media followers, which leads to you getting endorsement deals, and the WNBA just signed their new TV rights deal, which is going to make everybody more money. In the world we're in, and if you're going to throw Angel Reese into that equation because of her doing a podcast, which I think is fair to make that assumption, like, this is what Colin Cowherd has made a fortune off of. So I don't necessarily fault Angel Reese for this, because we live in a world where clicks mean money.
We live in a world.
And if it's Angel Reese talking about Caitlin Clark, the clicks are going to be there. I don't fault Angel Reese because it's what's made her the amount of her play on the court, yes, but outside of the, like, it's what everybody, we were not talking about the WNBA at all 2 years ago. Now everybody is because of these two players. So I don't necessarily fault her. I do agree. I think Caitlin Clark should be Rookie of the Year, but I don't fault Angel Reese for taking to a podcast that she probably got paid a ton of money for to do this.
Do I have time for one more
go ahead.
thing? Okay. And also, WNBA, Nike, literally every single shoe company that is out there right now. I want you to listen to me and I want you to hear me loud and freaking clear. You do not need to fumble this hard. Nike, I'm going to specifically talk to you right now, Nike. You have a brand new CEO. Guess what? Time to turn the dang page. You want to know what the number one selling basketball shoe is among all of Nike's product line right now? Jordan? No, it's not the Jordan.
It's not?
Sabrina Ionescu shoe. Men wear it. Women wear it. Everybody likes her shoe. You have two of the most marketable talents in the entire world right now who are just setting this league on fire. Angel Reese needs a shoe. Caitlin needs a shoe. She has been wearing Kobe's for years. You have been giving her player edition Kobe's for years that she has just been wearing for free. Just free advertisement for you. You're doing nothing for her. You're doing nothing for Angel Reese. You're doing nothing for Asia Wilson, the 3-time MVP of the league.
Hold on. But what if they prefer those shoes?
Yeah, make a good shoe. Don't just slap someone's name on a piece of garbage.
Because I wonder how often that happens, where somebody likes the shoe that they're wearing, and then they sign a deal with company X, and then they have to wear that shoe, and then how much they regret it. Because I guarantee you that's a thing.
I will give you an example. I have a buddy who's a huge Derrick Rose fan. Bought every single D Rose shoe that came out. They're all crap. They're all garbage. But he bought them anyway because they said Derrick Rose's name on them. They're trash. Like, they put out these garbage shoes with someone's name on it.
So
don't do that.
That's
Sabrina's shoe.
That's your friend's fault for buying that shoe.
Sabrina's shoe, people like it because it's comfortable and it's like classically styled. It's not some outrageous, gaudy thing that we're trying to push the envelope with. It's a good shoe. It's a nice, comfortable shoe. It looks like a normal shoe, not like you have alien feet.
Yeah, because
I'm sorry, John, but have you ever worn a Kobe 9?
No.
Have you ever seen what a Kobe Hyper Elite 9 looks like? Don't tell me about gaudy shoes and uncomfortable shoes
these are hideous.
The same sentence.
Yeah, these are awful.
It
is awful.
The most hideous shoe you will ever see in your entire life. But you know what the best part about it is?
What?
It is the most comfortable shoe you will ever wear in your entire life. And you know why that is? It's because Kobe had full creative control over his product line. He got to go in there every year and
that's
say,
terrible.
Sit me down with what you want me to wear. Let me feel it. Let me test it. Let me go and do my 8.5-hour training routine in these shoes and see how my feet feel. You ever notice how Kobe barely ever broke his feet?
No, but I remember when he tore his
Achilles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if he had
That's
Sabrina
why-
Ionescu's shoes on, it would have happened.
Speaking of which, that's why the Kobe 9 is the thing.
We need to get to Brian Munson from Husker Online. If you missed Dan's rants tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/after-hour1620, wherever you may find your podcast. That is brought to you by Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Tomorrow is the day. We know you've had it circled on your calendar for a couple weeks. You need to get to 78th and Dodge tomorrow for the Mizzen and Main Trunk Show. It's a nice, great sports shirt. It's easily washable. It's stretchy. You know how important that is. If you guys have bought a brand new shirt and 2 weeks later, it's just not in rotation anymore because it's not great. You're not going to have that problem with Mizzen and Main. They have slim fit. They have regular fit. They've got every trim that you need for your body type. The Trunk Show is Thursday, tomorrow from 11 to 6 to kick off the 51st anniversary of Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. It's not just clothes. They got a whiskey tasting from 11 to 6 as well. Stop by, get a new shirt, taste some great whiskey with our friends at Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. For one guy that rants to one guy that goes and rambles on, Brian Munson from Husker Online. When we come back here on 1620. So.
You know what, folks? There's one thing that I'll never fumble, and it's that bag from Pepper Jack's Grill. And you want to know why that is? Because it contains my steak gunner Philly with all the vegetables, including that great jalapeno juice to make it extra spicy. And of course, you know me, if I fumble that bag, then you know what's going to spill that's inside there? That great ranch that goes along with those crispy Pepper Jack's fries. So if you don't want to fumble a bag tonight, go to one of Pepper Jack's 10 great local locations and grab some dinner.
7:33 on a Wing Wednesday edition of the After Hours Lounge. Our good friend Brian Munson from Husker Online and On 3 now joins us here on After Hours. B. Munson, good evening, sir. How are you?
Boys, how are you?
How you feeling about the Bills after that shellacking from the Ravens?
Oh, come on, brother! Like we are, like whoa! Like there's like a protocol. You can't just like first of all start out like that. Like it's been 72-ish or more hours. Like dude, it's in my rear view. It's I mean,
I feel like I let it breathe long enough.
I think so. I think
we're on to Houston.
Yeah, we're on to Houston. I was really considering heading down there this week, but we'll maybe still sneak down there Sunday morning. But I feel like Baltimore is they're kind of hitting their stride finally after struggling a little bit out the gate. Taking it to Dallas, and they whooped up on the Bills. I think they're really, 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 really good. Buffalo got hit in the mouth and they got exposed. I mean, they don't like that physical run game, and without, having their top two linebackers, it really hurt. So they need to get healthy on defense. And, maybe they need to make a call to Sue, maybe make a call to somebody else. They need a defensive lineman that's going to have some attitude and go out there and take it to some of these guys. Maybe throw a boatload of money at Aaron Donald and try to talk him out of retirement or something. I don't know, but they need some help up front.
We've seen him in LA for the Crawford fight. He looks perfectly happy being retired, by the way. We'll make it a little less personal. What was your thoughts on Nebraska's first half performance against Purdue?
Well, I mean, the referees were involved a lot. There
Correct.
were a lot of points that correct. There were a lot of there were some points that obviously didn't make their way onto the scoreboard that should have been there. I really got concerned. I mean, like, look, you kind of put the remote control down at 0-0 and you go,
that doesn't feel great.
This has not been a second half team at all this season. They have just not come out. I mean, I don't even know if they put up 10 or 14 points in all the games prior to Purdue in the second half. They just have not done anything in the second half. So for them to come out and kind of put behind them a really rough half of football, their first game on the road with a true freshman quarterback who, in the stage there was just no challenge for him, right? I mean, he still was just shining, like he has been all season long. I think because of that leadership, I think because of that, that lack of fear and just really just, still kind of having that really unreal confidence. Nebraska's in a way different scenario than what they have been in past years, where they just struggled for identity. They couldn't get away from turnovers. Turnovers were like a virus. They don't have those kinds of problems. They got some problems like where there's the bad call, there's the no call, bad call. Then there's the special teams breakdowns, and that stuff kind of piles up, and it's tough to kind of get all away from that because it just seems to happen all at one time or all in a single half. And that's exactly what happened. I feel like first half, they clearly won it. There should have been some points on the board. They should have been up at least 10-0, I think, by the first half. But then at the second half, it really showed me that they can do something in the second half, and they were able to kind of put that bad half of football behind them. So I felt really good by the way they responded.
In watching the run game this season, I think Dante Dowdell might be Nebraska's best running back, but Emmett Johnson might do the things that the offense needs the best. What do you make of the running back situation right now?
I think you said that pretty perfectly. I think Emmett has a little bit more of a little more quickness to get to the outside, a little bit more of ability to kind of catch a defense, flat on their feet. Maybe they just haven't had a chance really to kind of have to match up, and do things very well at that kind of speed until Emmett gets onto the field. And then all of a sudden, he's in there and all of a sudden he's kind of bouncing out of the initial hole and getting to the outside and sprinting down the sideline. And then they're realizing they can't catch it. It's not Dowdell has some capability to kind of do that, to kind of make those runs a little bit. But I think also he'd have to kind of set up himself. He'd have to kind of get rolling, inside out. And they've not been able to kind of do that with him, since Mazuka, basically has kind of not been around, maybe since Colorado, maybe more in general and not that specific situation there. So I think I agree with you. I think Emmett's the kind of guy that you kind of like him coming off the bench as almost like as a sixth man or, a person that can just kind of come in and just catch that defense maybe on a little bit of exhaustion, then all of a sudden here comes some fresh legs right at you. And oh yeah, by the way, they're a lot quicker than what you've been seeing up to this point.
We used to call it the change of pace back.
Yes. Good call.
Yep.
Nebraska gets a surprise visitor this Saturday for the Rutgers game. Corey Sims is coming in, the USC commit, the 4-star wide receiver from St. Louis. Why is he taking this visit at this time? And how much do we think Nebraska can flip the USC commit back in June to Nebraska in October?
Yeah, interesting guy. I mean, obviously he's a legacy. Dad played basketball at Nebraska, and he and I have spoke a lot through this process because he had intended to take several more visits to Lincoln than he actually did. He would tell me weeks leading up to events that he would be there, and then all of a sudden, the Thursday or Friday before, he wasn't going to be there. And it just kind of felt like, just kind of some things were a little bit off in that space. And I'm not sure if that was really, Nebraska's doing because, they were on some amazing wide receivers at first, but now, I think Nebraska is still looking for a guy. I think the door's, pretty much closed with Cortez, right? So I think we can kind of close that one off. So maybe that's leaving this extra spot kind of open for a bigger wide receiver. I think obviously then you've got this kind of additional layer to it. He's from Missouri. I think I'm mentioning some things about that, and I'm writing Tunnel Talk right now because we got a long road trip tomorrow night out to East Texas for a football game. So, and I was mentioning some things about having Keith Williams in St. Louis, and how Nebraska is doubling down by going out and getting Jamar Mosey to put him into Kansas City. Nebraska clearly wants to be effective in the Show Me State. They want to get dudes out of there, and I also we've been kind of just low key kind of saying this. Nebraska has really rethought about and re-strategized like what they're doing in recruiting. I mean, because initially it was like every offer was into Texas, and now all of a sudden, Sarkisian's riding pretty high. Texas A&M, well, they got that AD down there that used to be up in Nebraska. They've clearly been trying to stick it to Nebraska in a couple different ways. Texas Tech is already dipping into Nebraska to get offensive linemen out. They're going into the Dakotas to get offensive linemen. So Nebraska's kind of doubling down and going into, hey, look, we're going to keep the guys in the state we want, and we're going to get the neighboring state and the radius. And that's where Kansas City and St. Louis makes so much sense. I think Nebraska really feels like if they can nail this down and become successful, they can work out from there. And it gets easier then as you become more successful. And I would actually agree with that strategy. So I think here it's an interesting scenario because I think Nebraska still has a spot for like a bigger body wide receiver, to get him in the class. Legacy guy. I know he's a USC commitment. At some point it's like, you got to figure out like where he's at, like with his connections with the other players in the class. It's a good week to get him in because of Mosey. And obviously then you try to figure out like if he connects in with Dylan. Dayton obviously will be up there this weekend as well. So that's kind of a great situation as well to kind of help him out with, get him rethinking about what's going on and staying a little bit closer to home.
We're at the point of the season where it becomes decommitment season as teams figure out that they're not very good and the players that are committed to them also figure that out. Nebraska's not there yet. Still, 4-1 looking pretty good. But is there anyone that's in the fold currently that you have maybe the slightest hint of a doubt about?
Yeah, I think there's probably a couple that you have to circle on the list right now. And you got to kind of wonder where things are at. Like Malcolm Simpson, for one, from Hitchcock, Texas, from way south Texas. Has taken at least a trip to Austin once. He will be up to Nebraska later in November. When I spoke to Malcolm about his trip, he said basically that he and his uncle and Coach Rule had kind of talked about it. and everything was understood, not to worry about it. Yeah, well, Texas has been pretty effective recruiting this year. Let's just put it that way. And if they want to keep a guy home, they're going to make it challenging for Nebraska to keep to keep their hands on him. So I keep a close eye on that one, and I think Jeremiah Jones is interesting as well. Jeremiah, made it into Nebraska for a visit. The Missouri offer was interesting. He had some really kind of different comments from me about being committed right now to Nebraska. I think that Coach Rule has understood the importance of having an athlete like Jones in the class. He stepped it up. I mean, from talking to Jeremiah, I want to say that Coach Rule has been mainly the key kind of recruiter for Nebraska and trying to get Jones. A lot of FaceTime kind of calls, a lot of good conversations. So I think Nebraska is doing everything they can to kind of keep Jones in the boat. But Missouri is going to make it really, really, really difficult. And obviously, they're paying their players quite a bit through the NIL stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Jones, and I think that he's maybe more of a risk than anybody else. But then I put Simpson on that list as well.
That's Brian Munson. You can follow all of his work at Brian Munson _ on Twitter. You can follow all of his work at HuskerOnline.com as well. Munson, we appreciate it. We'll catch up with you next week. Enjoy the safe travels to the other side of the state.
I appreciate it. Later, guys.
If you missed Brian's segment tonight, check it out at SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620, wherever you may find your podcasts at. It was brought to you by AX Plumbing. Home or residential, they can do it all. Head over to AXPService.com tonight for all your water heater, gas piping, backflow prevention, or plumbing issues tonight. AX Plumbing is locally owned and operated. They will leave your home or business cleaner than they found it. Check out AXPService.com to book a service fee or a service with Nick and the crew at AX Plumbing. There's also a discount for current and former military members. AXPService.com. Check them out tonight. We'll be right back winning some money here on 1620 Zone.
Do you smell that? The delicious, tangy spice of a Cunningham's smoked chicken wing? Oh, you don't smell it? Then you're not me, because it's Wing Wednesday, and we get the delicious wings from Cunningham's on Wednesdays. If you want delicious wings on Wednesdays, here's what you got to do. You got to follow After Hours, follow Cunningham's on any of the social media platforms, retweet the picture or the GIF or whatever it may be that we put out on Wednesdays, and then you'll be entered into a drawing for a $25 gift card to get yourself some delicious Cunningham's wings. And on Sundays, Derek brought us in some of the menu from their Sunday brunch. The chicken fried chicken with the delicious spicy chorizo gravy, the egg, the candied bacon that is oh so delicious, the biscuits and gravy, along with some of that delicious fried bread pudding. You can't go wrong. If you got a place to be on Sunday, it's Cunningham's. They got Sunday ticket. They got great food. What else could you ask for? Nothing else. That's why you're going to go to Cunningham's this weekend. Get yourself some wings. Get yourself some brunch. Have yourself a grand time at one of their two great locations in Blackstone or in the Old Mill District. It's Cunningham's Pub and Grill. Stop by tonight.
Despite the music that's playing right now, it is closing time here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. If you have problems with your roof, windows, gutters, or siding, they do it all at Pyramid Contractors. Head over to pyramidroof.com. Tonight, Kyle and team will give you a free estimate to fix your home up and get it like brand new tonight. It is time for us to give you our picks in the NFL this weekend. We will each give you one game against the spread, one over/under, and a prop bet this week in the NFL. I will go ahead and start us off. The Vikings are the only team in the NFL that's 4-0 against the spread. They're only favored by 2.5 against the Jets. That trend continues. The Vikings may win that game by 10. The Giants have hit the over exactly 0 times this season. You want to follow trends? That's another one you should follow. Give me the under and 43.5 in Giants at Seahawks. We were talking about this earlier off air. Give me Alvin Kamara and an anytime touchdown. He has more touchdowns than any non-quarterback in the NFL. He actually has more touchdowns than 14 quarterbacks in the NFL that have started a game as well, with 6. Give me an Alvin Kamara anytime touchdown this weekend.
All right. Okay. Let me get to my page here. I got to find my page. Okay. I have a very curious line.
Okay.
That I don't quite understand. Atlanta and Tampa Bay. Atlanta's a 1.5 point favorite.
This game's tomorrow. Yes, correct.
I don't get it. Give me the Bucks and the points. I'll take that. Easy. Thank you. I'll have that.
It's an NFL team at home in a division game. That's why.
Yeah, but very weird. The Bucks are way better than Atlanta.
Agreed.
And I'm rolling it with my Commanders. I hit them.
I don't blame you.
Big on the over last week. Give it to me again. Browns Commanders over 43.5.
Have you ever wanted to be a superhero?
Who hasn't?
You could have been Spider-Man, and Dan just ruined that for you.
Okay. And then I have the Cincinnati and Baltimore game. Give me total touchdowns by Cincinnati under 2.5. I don't think they score more than 17 points against the Ravens.
The spider catcher himself, Dan Campion. What do you got for us?
Indeed. So I don't know where they get off putting the line for total points in this Tampa and Atlanta game at 44.
I don't think you should know where anybody gets off, but that's between you and them. Go ahead.
Yeah, fair enough. But give me the over in that Tampa and Atlanta game there. Also, speaking of betting against the point spread, you know who's really bad against the spread and should get beat by at least a touchdown? It's the New York Giants. They're taking on the Seattle Seahawks. That should be an easy lock at Seattle Seahawks minus 6.5. And then one that I just found that I really, really enjoy. In the New Orleans Saints and Kansas City Chiefs game on Monday night, the total yards of the shortest touchdown will be over 1.5 yards.
Nice. Okay. Those are our bets that are all brought to you courtesy of our friends at Warhorse Sportsbook and Casino off 63rd and Q. Slots, table games, and yes, their sportsbook is now open. If you know somebody that's having a gambling problem, you can call 402-806-7344 to work with somebody to get help on that as well. John, Dan, I don't know if you heard this. John is going to be here live in studio on Friday night. So we will not do a pre-recorded show. Are you going to find a co-host?
No, I'll just do it.
Just do it yourself.
Fine,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you're famously of radio, so you should be okay.
We can manage. Me and Dan, we can do it.
Yeah, I got faith in you guys. I will text you my Superdog picks.
All right.
So you guys can read them on air. And
woof, woof.
Yeah. I think as a whole, we went we had 6 picks. We went 3-3, so we split it. So picking complete underdogs just outright to win, that's still pretty darn good.
I know I got 2 of mine.
This has been a great show. Thank you to Brian Munson for joining us. And I thank you to all of you who joined us and Derek Richards who brought in the amazing food from Cunningham's. If you missed any of the show tonight, head over to 1620thezone.com or soundcloud.com/afterhours 1620. You can check out our radio replay page there anytime. Thank you for joining us here on the show tonight. And hopefully you can join John and Dan live on Friday night. For Dan Campion, Hammer and Hank Ludwig, John Schreiner, I'm Jimmy Allen. Happy Pumpkin Seed Day, everybody.
Sunflower seeds.
Mm-hmm.